In the United States, we really tell people that anybody could reach any potential they want. They've just got to be willing to work hard. They've got to invest in themselves. My name is Michael Santos. I'm the founder of Prison Professors, and I want you to know, if you invest in yourself, even if you're in prison, you could start building your pathway to a better life. I learned that from leaders, and I feel really passionately about wanting to share that message with as many people as possible. And I would never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do. That's why I write these lessons, but these lessons are really designed as a part of a bigger project. My big project is I want to change the criminal justice system so that people can work toward earning freedom. In fact, I wrote a book about earning freedom, and this book is really what launched this whole movement toward milestone credits or earn time credits. And I want to do more, but I can't do more without help from people in custody. I need people in custody to begin documenting how are you preparing for success upon release. That's why we created this course. In the first half of this course, we gave you all of the lessons for the 10 principles, right? You've got to define success. You have got to make sure that you have clear, smart goals. You've got to have the right attitude. You've got to aspire to something more than you are right now. You've got to take action. You've got to act. You got to hold yourself accountable. You have got to stay aware of opportunities. You got to keep your head in the game so that you know what you can do. 8, you've got to be authentic. You got to be for real. You can't talk about wanting to be successful, but then not do anything about it. So you got to be authentic. Number 9, you've got to celebrate every achievement. And 10, you have got to live in a state of gratitude where you're passing along the blessings along the way. I live in gratitude. I'm super grateful for all the staff members that are allowing us to present these programs in jails and prison. I mean, really, it takes a lot of courage to bring somebody with my background, somebody who was in prison for 26 years, and give me this forum where I get to speak to you. So I'm super grateful to the staff. I'm grateful to you, because it's this effort that allows me to do something that I'm super passionate about, and that's work towards reform that will allow more people to work toward earning freedom. That's what my whole life is about, and that's why I'm offering this lesson today about harnessing ambition. That's lesson number 18 in our course. You've got to harness ambition to reach your highest potential. So the vocabulary word for this lesson is just ambition. What is it? Well, it's a strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. What's the lesson content? Well, it begins with a question. In what ways are you working toward your ambition? At the start of my prison journey, I set very high ambitions of what I wanted to achieve during the time I served. I visualized the career I wanted to build. The more clarity I could bring to that vision, the better I could use the decades I served inside to prepare. If I didn't prepare well, I anticipated facing more challenges after I got out. But if I prepared, I could open opportunities. My ambitions required that I set a 3-part strategy. Every day, I would work to educate myself, build a support network, and contribute to society. The 3-part clarity guided my steps, and I hoped to get out with my dignity intact and opportunities to prosper. Ambition is the fuel that can drive us toward achieving our goals. A strong desire to improve, achieve, and maximize our potential can make all the difference. In personal development, especially for those serving time, harnessing ambition can be a powerful tool for growth and change. Follow these steps to build ambition for personal development. Set high goals. Ambition starts with setting goals that challenge you. These should be the things that you truly desire to achieve that will require determination and hard work. The danger isn't in setting goals that are too high, but in setting goals and failing to make further progress. You've got to plan your path. Once you know where you want to go, the next step is to plan how you will get there. Learn new skills and build a stronger mindset. Stay committed. Ambition requires commitment. It means sticking with your goals even when progress slows or obstacles arise. Seek growth. Always look for opportunities to learn and grow. Ambition requires us to work toward becoming a better version of ourselves along the way. And you've got to celebrate progress. Recognize and celebrate progress. We should acknowledge every small step toward our goals because they set us on a path to new opportunities. Now, here are some of those open-ended questions. Those open-ended questions, they don't have a right answer or a wrong answer, but they should advance your ability to describe how you are investing in yourself, how you are preparing for success upon release. So I'll go ahead and read the questions, but then I'm going to give some commentary about how it would have applied to me and how I could use that messaging to open new opportunities once I got out of prison, just like you can do. Okay, so here we are. How do you understand the concept of ambition? 2, how does ambition relate to personal development? 3, when did your ambition help you overcome a challenge or achieve a goal in prison? Next, how did this experience contribute to your personal development? How can harnessing your ambition help you prepare for a successful life after release? What ambitious goals are you working toward during your time in prison? Activity. Reflect on an ambitious goal you've set for yourself. Write down why this goal is important to you and your steps to achieve it. Identify one new strategy you could use to harness your ambition and drive you closer to your goal. Remember, ambition is more than just the desire to achieve. It is about the determination and hard work you are willing to put in to reach your goals. As you continue your journey of personal development in prison, your ambition will be a powerful driving force toward your success upon release. Keep dreaming, keep striving, and keep pushing toward your limits. Now, I can tell you a little bit about how ambition really helped me and how ambition in prison is a series of really small incremental steps. But if you don't take the steps very early in the journey, you don't advance possibilities for you to be in a stronger position later. You've always got to be thinking down the road. How is the decision I'm making today going to influence my future? And I'm going to give you an example. So when I started in prison, I started in a high security penitentiary, but I didn't know anything about prison. I'd never been incarcerated before I got locked up on August the 11th, 1987. And since I spent my first year in the hole, in solitary confinement, I really didn't get a good feel of what prison would be like. And so you had to go through it in stages, right? And I didn't understand this at the beginning. In the beginning, I just made a series of really bad decisions by not accepting responsibility and pleading guilty. Instead, I went to trial and I lied on the witness stand. I took the stand and said I didn't do it. Then they later charged me with perjury. It wasn't until I was convicted that an officer really changed my life by giving me these books. And it was because these people were in prison that I chose to read the books and listen and learn from them because they came from struggle. And when you're in the hole, you're in struggle. When you're living in solitary confinement for a long time, you're in struggle and you want to get out. So you got to have a vision. How am I going to get out? How am I going to harness my ambition? When I went from the solitary confinement to the penitentiary, all of a sudden I was free. I was like I shouldn't say I was free, but I was free from a solitary cell. Now I'm in a pen, and it's big, and there's a couple thousand people there, and there's walls around, so you can't see outside. But what you could do is you could look up, and when you could look up, you could see hope, right? You could see the sky. You could say, okay, someday I'm going to get out of here. How am I going to do it? And you start mixing with other people in prison, and you start hearing about how the prison's designed, that there are not all high security. There are some low security, medium security, minimum security. And so I wanted to experience that and get away from some of the violence that was all around me. And I remember asking the unit team, is there any way I can get out and go to one of these correctional institutions that I'd read about instead of the penitentiary. And they said I couldn't. They said I'd always have to be in a pen because of the type of sentence that I had and the crime that I had. There wasn't any violent, but I was a big drug dealer when I was a kid. And I can't change that, right? That's what I did. I did some stupid things when I was 20 years old. I wanted to be better, but I couldn't change the fact that there's a record that says I was a major drug dealer when I was 20. So I had ambition, and I had to think, and it wasn't going to happen overnight. I had to be willing to look down the road. And so I decided to be the best that I could be while I was in prison. I had to focus on those 3 goals that got me through: get an education, contribute to society, build a support network. And if I focus on that, I believed more opportunities would open later. And they did. I remember I was in the pen. I don't even remember if it was my 6th year or 7th year in prison, but I remember somebody got killed. And I just realized I don't want to be around this kind of volatility anymore. I'd been there long enough. And so I had to maneuver my way to get to the next stop. And I wrote about this in Earning Freedom. So if you've read that book, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But what I did was I'd had these mentors already. I had one mentor that was a professor in North Carolina, another mentor that was a law professor at the University of Chicago, and I needed to leverage these resources to help me. But remember, how did I get those professors? Had I not been memorializing my release plan and showing how I am working, I would not have attracted them to come visit me and mentor me and educate me. But by then, 6-7 years into my sentence, I'd already gotten an undergraduate degree. I was in a master's program. And when I saw somebody get killed, that's when I could cash in the chips of the investment that I'd made in becoming a serious student. And when it came time to go, I created a plan. I told the professor, I said, hey, in order for me to get transferred to the right prison, I need your help. We need to get the attention of authority figures in the Bureau of Prisons in Washington, D.C. And that required me to think strategically. It required me to develop my critical thinking skills. What were those critical thinking skills? Okay, I saw that the director of education had published an article about the importance of education. I said, let's write our own article in response to hers and publish it. And because I had a friend who was a professor at North Carolina, he had connections in peer-reviewed journals. And so he could reach out. He got us an agreement that we could publish. We published this article called Transcending the Wall. That then went to Washington, D.C. The director of education saw it. It led to a relationship with him. It led us to being able to learn what's going to be the best prison for me. When I found and identified that prison, I had my other mentor at the University of Chicago Law School who had told me if I ever need anything, let him know, and he could call regional directors on my behalf. And, that's how it happened. I got the result that I wanted because of my ambition very early on to differentiate myself from what my record said that I was. My record said I was a drug dealer serving a 45-year sentence. But the record I built in prison became extraordinary and compelling enough that it persuaded others to want to advocate on my behalf. And that's how I got to the prison where I wanted to go. And if that happened one time, you might say I was lucky. But if you read Earning Freedom, you're going to see how it happened throughout the journey for me, just like it can happen for you. But what it doesn't happen with is happy talk. If you want to be ambitious, you've got to develop your plan. You've got to put priorities in place. You've got to develop your own tools, tactics, and resources. And you've got to execute your plan every day. You need your own accountability tools to measure progress. You need to adjust when necessary. But every day, you got to stay on the plan. That's what I learned about being ambitious in prison. What are you learning? And what are you doing to prepare for success after prison? I am Michael Santos. I was in prison for 9,500 days, but because of that ambition, I built a career around my journey just like you can. Doesn't mean you have to make lessons and videos for people in prison. You can do whatever you want to do, but you've got to do something. And the sooner you start preparing, the better off you are going to be. So I encourage you, use all of the lessons in our Preparing for Success After Prison program, and regardless of what stage you're in, whether you are pre-trial, whether you are already sentenced, whether you are getting ready to go home, remember, it's never too early and it's never too late to begin sowing seeds for a better life. And I hope that all of the lessons and courses we create are showing you a pathway that gives you confidence on how you can harness ambition so that you're not only successful in going through prison, but you're successful in preparing for success on the other side of the journey. I really want to thank Adovo. I want to thank the Bureau of Prisons, California Department of Corrections, and all of the teachers who allow me to bring this message into you. I come recruiting. I am asking for your help. Help build a record showing how you're preparing for success upon release. Let us know to the extent you're able to do so. And you can always write to us. You could join our community at Prison Professors or Prison Professors Talent, and we'll profile your efforts. But I will never stop fighting to try and improve outcomes of this system. But I want you to give me your help, right? I can't succeed in what I do unless we can show we are preparing people for success and lowering recidivism rates and improving the culture of confinement. I am Michael Santos with Prison Professors, and I believe in you.